All right, I'm getting finger guns, which telling me that we should be live. Once I can get confirmation that people can hear me, we will get this thing started. This is the best part. The best part of waking up is waiting for stream to tell you they can hear you. Let me know once you can hear my voice, and then I see Adeline saying yes. So, hello everyone, and welcome to DevStream number 5. This is going to be a very fun and exciting DevStream. We have a lot of content to show. It is Companion Week. I am joined by my companions. I have Jonas here and the famous and often asked for Fasih. Jonas and Fasih, great to see you. Jonas, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Fasih, how are you?
Just like Jonas. We're great. We're excited.
You know, I don't think none of us coordinated our outfits today, by the way. I'm just going to say, it's not like we sat there before we walked into the party and we're like, hey, are you wearing red? Am I wearing red? But all of us showed up with the exact, I mean, there's only 2 options, but both of us dice rolled the red shirt today, the maroon shirt.
It is the classiest option. I think it's everyone's favorite. It's such a nice color.
Absolutely. I actually really like the warmth of the color, but I do like the big Expeditions Rome logo on the front from the black shirt, so it just kind of depends. Different moods for different days, I guess.
I feel like we're really taunting the chat right now with the fact that you can't buy these. We should probably create some merch or something, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we'll, if enough people request it, we could look into doing some Expeditions Rome merch, you never know. I see, yeah, Muxie wants a couple shirts. They're actually really high-quality shirts, too, which is great. Yeah, Joatskin, I was going to ask, right? I know. You got to feed the jealousy, right? Hello from Germany, Raglasaur. It's great to have you here. We have a crazy fun show today. We are showing, it's like video bonanza during Companion Week. So if anyone's been following our social channels, starting this week, it's Companion Week, so every day we are releasing a trailer for a new companion. Fun fact, though, for all of our great friends out in Twitch land that are joining us, we're actually going to show all 5 of the companion trailers today. So the 2 that are going to launch, the one tomorrow and the one on Friday, you're going to get a nice sneak preview today. We're going to go through all 5 of them. We are also showing a very, very exciting new trailer that I think is going live tomorrow. That highlights the extension and the demo weekend we just did with some streamers. So we got a whole bunch of really cool stuff to show. Hope you're excited. We're gonna have a lot of fun together. Now, to start off, I do want to remind everyone there is a new dev diary posted on our community site. That's community.expeditionseries.com. It's down there in the corner. Really encourage you to go check it out. Jonas and Fasih did a great job of writing about all the companions, telling a little bit about their backstory and kind of framing them up. If you're interested in the RPG aspects of Rome, which I know many of you are, it's a great opportunity for you to dive in and get to know some of the characters a little bit more. Before we actually show anything, I got to ask, just to start, because I want to get this out of the way in the beginning. Fasih, who is your favorite companion? If you had to pick one.
I knew you were going to ask this, but it's like, I don't know. It's a classic thing to say, but they're all like my children. I don't know, really. It's...
Papa doesn't want to play favorites. Look at this.
Yeah, it's just... I want to say Cineros because he's... I don't know. His homeland is close to mine. You know, I like Cineros. But then again, there's Bestia. I really don't know. Julia is also... yeah. Skip this question. Like, I don't...
Jonas, I actually think I know your answer, and I've said it on stream before. What's your favorite companion?
Yeah, I must admit it's Deianira, because she's the one I've written the most of compared to Fasih. But if I'm not allowed to pick the one I made myself,
you're not.
I would probably go with Bestia because he has a really well-realized character arc.
Yeah, actually, I found it quite interesting, and for those, how many raise of hands have played the demo? If you haven't, you should check it out. There is a demo live right now on Steam that you can download for free. There's actually quite a bit of content in it, and I've seen a lot of people commenting about how Bestia is just kind of the aggressive Neanderthal. You should wait to see how Bestia's character arc unfolds. There's a lot of complexity to him. I think when you play the full game, you're going to learn that there's many layers to the onion. so to speak. Sand Pixie, we've just got started, and now that you're here, Sand Pixie, I didn't even know we were waiting on you. We are probably going to show our first trailer. So we have, before we go into the companions, I do want to highlight some of the really awesome partners that supported us during our demo launch weekend back in December. We did this very, very cool event with a number of streamers where we gave them beta access to our world first large scope extension that we built. This is an extension that allows you to interact with the game in ways honestly have never before really been seen, from voting on dialogue to interacting with combat. There's a lot of really cool stuff we did with it. This trailer is going to go live on YouTube tomorrow, but we're going to do a special preview here where you get a chance to see it. It highlights all of the streamers that participated with us during that demo weekend. A lot of them, I think actually all of them are planning to play at launch on January 20th, and we have a really cool drops campaign that's going to be around that. But I want to at least give them a chance to have a moment in the light, so to speak, because they were awesome to play it and they had a lot of fun. So this is our extension streamer trailer from the demo weekend. Hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to just shut up for a second and let it play, and I will let producer Nadine in the background go ahead and play that now. So here's our extension streamer weekend trailer. Go ahead and take it, Nadine.
Chad going for blood.
Oh, you knocked my guy down. Thank you.
So I've got schematics like out the wazoo.
This old man is a problem, and I love it.
Damn, chat, you cold. You cold, chat. My hands are clean.
Weapon set is disarmed. Chat. The extension lets you get involved in chat get involved in the fight if you want. Who knocked down Queso? All right. Another junglist took down my cheese. Wait, somebody already knocked down the main guy.
Dang, he's burning. Oh, he's burning. Oh my God, Fang, what have you done? Dude, you guys literally murdered their entire squad. Dude, look at the fire. This is insane, dude.
Rally has been applied. Mighty, just start setting up fires all throughout here. Oh, look, you guys are already doing it. Oh, you guys are awesome.
Fancy. Hey, appreciate the food. Give me that hanger package though. Man, y'all some savages. Y'all some savages. That was quick. How? Wait, you can choose where to set that beast?
Oh, you healed me. What the frick, chat? Oh, you knocked my guy down. Thank you. Decide the fate of this man.
There you go, got Audrey Roar over here now, that's cool, look at that. Yo, did one of you guys put fire down? I didn't even notice that, where did that come? Get Audrey for putting that fire down. Oh, I took his arm off!
Wow, chat, you're just gonna murder the man. Oh yes, Xandix run into the fire, that was brilliant, good work. Take that, Dr. Evil.
Yeah, I love that I can have chat make the tough decisions about killing people. I guess it looks like we're gonna kill him. Wow, this is you. This is all you, chat.
Nice! That's what you get, Brad! I'm kidding. Sorry. I want to say off the bat, the game, holy amount of fun. You can quote me on that. Put that on Steam.
Yeah, you guys hit a home run with the integration into the game. It's ridiculously smooth. It's ridiculously smooth.
This is a fantastic game. Like, this is just absolutely fantastic.
All right. So I would love to know how many of you actually had a chance to participate or try out the extension. I love this trailer. I thought it was really fun. I personally sat in a lot of the different streams and was interacting. You saw TH Nordic Brad maybe showing up on the renames a few times. It was very, yeah, well, your name is Farflame CZ, which is hilarious because we were, now, Jonas, I wouldn't say surprised, but it was very informative, I guess, to see just how much people loved lighting the world on fire. Like, I knew they would like it, but I mean, I wasn't expecting them to like it just as much as they did.
I mean, the trolling potential is through the roof, so I'm not surprised that it was a big hit, especially like knocking characters on their butt just when the streamer was about to select them and have their turn with them was, I mean, it never got old.
It didn't get old. I actually, not even related to the extension, but one of my favorite parts of both the trailer and the entire weekend event was when Cringer decided to nickname Kaiso Queso and kept on calling him his cheese. And he's like, my big cheese, why are you knocking down my big... If anyone doesn't know, queso is cheese in Spanish, and it was... That entertained me to no end, that from the entire stream, Kaiso was just queso with a Q, and that was it.
Yeah, it was great fun to watch.
There was a lot of, I think, a lot of immersive moments, even with doing the different votes and everything. I was really surprised. I thought every channel was going to be bloodthirsty, because there was a lot of, there are a number of moments in the game where you can decide to, attack someone or kill someone. And I figured most of the time the channels would be bloodthirsty. I would actually say it was only about 60% bloodthirsty. A number of the channels were merciful. They allowed people to live. I was personally not expecting that.
It's a way to make the game much easier if you play on Insane with Iron Man and Combat Death on, right? Then you might be relying on the audience to help you get through it. And I think that's a very interesting way to play it as well.
Yeah. If you haven't checked out the extension, we really encourage you to check out streams. I Lumbar, I heard you were watching on H for Havoc stream. It was a lot of fun interacting. I hope you had a chance to use the extension. It's gonna be available for everybody on January 20th. So we've done a lot of bug fixes, a lot of improvements from the beta weekend's feedback. It's gonna be a very smooth, solid experience. So on the 20th, it's going to be live for everybody. You're going to get a chance to use the extension if you're a streamer. Your favorite streamers that play the game can load the extension and use it. It really does elevate the amount of interactions that chat can do to a whole new level. And I mean, that's kind of a cliche phrase to say, but in my personal, professional opinion, I don't think there is a game out there that has taken an extension this far. And I hope you have a lot of fun with it, including now having the free actions work. So now you'll be able to do some of those actions for free. There's a lot of cool new functionality in there, so yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's move on to the companions. We're talking about Companion Week. First up, why don't we give a very quick, and maybe Fasih, you can answer this for us. Give like a really quick, 1 minute long explanation about what we mean when we say companion for Expedition Rome.
All right. So in Expeditions Rome, your party members are called Praetorians, and as we explained before. They can die in combat, or if you piss them off, they can just leave you. But 5 of these Praetorians, we call them companions, and they're special. They have a special connection to you. They have a special place in the story, and they don't ever leave you, or they can't die unless you turn combat death on. And when that happens and they die, it's game over. It's like you have died. And they are an interesting bunch of characters. They have their own story arcs, in a way, their own side quests. These side quests are optional, but it changes a lot of things in the story. It changes, it tells you a lot about them, and and sometimes you get to play as these characters. So that's also an interesting thing you don't always see in RPGs. So that's it. Basically, we have 5 of those. One of them is optional. That's pretty much it, I guess. Have I missed anything?
That's a great summary. No, I don't think you did. I feel like something that may, the companions, when it comes to the amount of dialogue they have in the game, and the amount of importance they play into the story and how it progresses is really at a whole nother level, even compared to how it worked in Vikings and Conquistadors. I mean, Conquistadors viewed companions a little bit differently, but I saw a comment show up in the dev diary about comparing the number of companions we had in Vikings to the ones we have in Rome, and even the idea of having like different followers. I mean, these are very complex, 3-dimensional characters with fully fleshed out backstories and a lot of depth. They participate so much in the story experience and not just how it's told, but how you feel it, because their reactions change based on the decisions that you make, and it's really just a complete integration with them into every aspect of the game. And I mean, Jonas, I think I believe it's fair to say that this is just on a completely different level compared to what we did with Viking.
It's been a general trajectory in the series, I guess. We started out with 31 characters you chose from, and they had almost no unique content. It was all driven by their personality traits. And we really wanted to have proper characters in Viking. So we settled for 8 because that seemed like a number we could pull off. But of course that limited how much unique dialogue we could give each of them because, we had a whole game to make. So it was a very deliberate decision to whittle it down to 5 and just make sure that they were much, much more integrated into the story this time so that they really do feel like main characters in the plot and not just someone who's along for the ride. Yeah, I think it worked out.
Absolutely. And Harry Easter, thank you for joining and really appreciate the well wishes. We also can't wait for January 20th. I was actually on, we have a weekly team call every Thursday with all of the studio's leadership together and myself, and we're counting down. We're like one week to launch week, and there's a lot of final things coming together as we put the little ribbon on top of the package. But it's very, very exciting, and we also can't wait for you guys to play it. We're going to be doing a really fun. We'll do our normal dev stream next week on Wednesday, the hour-long time slot. But on Thursday, and I'm gonna get ahead of myself, we're doing a special long stream with all the devs. They're going to be celebrating a little bit. There may be a little bit of celebration booze here and there throughout the stream. But basically, I'll be playing through some of the campaign, and they're going to be joining off and on in the office and streaming live. So we're going to have a really fun, exciting stream on Thursday for launch day. So it definitely is. I know we talked about this in the beginning of the project. We wanted to elevate the companions when it comes to just how much content there is, and I mean, they're all just so compelling and very different in both their personalities and what they bring. Gameplay-wise and how they interact with you. I think it's really cool. So let's start diving into Kaiso, who's the first. If you go in the Dev Diary, again, community.expeditionseries.com, and we're going to make sure to grab Dev Diary questions today. So if you want your questions answered on stream, I encourage you to plug in and start posting there. Kaiso is the first one we talked about. Who wants to talk about Kaiso real quick before? Well, actually, why don't we start with the... Do we want to start with the trailer, or do we want to just talk about him first? What do you think? Fasih, what do you think? Trailer first, or talk
trailer
about
maybe,
him?
And then we talk about him. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Let's lead with the trailer.
If you haven't seen it on YouTube, we've been releasing these 30-second long mini kind of vignettes about each of the companions that just show a little bit about their gameplay, a little about their personality. We have some of their cool VO lines. So we're going to start the show off on the companion side with the Kaiso trailer, introducing him, and he is a sword and board player, so he has the sword and shield stuff. You've probably seen him featured in a couple of other trailers. So this is the Kaiso companion trailer. Nadine, please take it away. Thank you.
It's bigger than you or me. Our republic is built on certain pillars. To remove just one such pillar might destroy our society. Justice should never serve the interests of one person. I've been a soldier since I was 16. The sound of clashing swords soothes my soul.
All right. By the way, Seraphim, whoever your significant other is, he or she is awesome that they have gotten you into the Expeditions series and excited about Rome. So that's super cool. Love the trailer. I think it's they're like little bite-sized snacks about each of the characters. Let's start with Fasih. Fasih, why don't you give us a little bit of interest or a little bit of tidbits about Kaiso and who he is in the game.
Right. Kaiso is the Centurion. So interesting characters make interesting stories. Extraordinary characters make interesting stories. But you always want to have this person who represents the base fantasy of the setting. And this is a game about Roman soldiers, legionnaires, centurions. And Kaiso is the stereotypical, standard, ideal Roman soldier. I would say if this is not Justice League, but if it were, he would have been Superman. He stands for truth, justice, and the Roman way, and it's not a joke. He actually believes in it. Like he thinks that Rome is a force of good. He's a good guy, at least in his mind. He's a hero.
He has his flaws, though. He's not, which I love about him. He's definitely not. He has complexity to that too.
Yeah, all of them have problems. This is like it's an interesting thing we have. This applies to all of the other characters. We have a 3-phase system of creating characters. We first find out who they are, and we then deconstruct them to figure out why they are like this. And then you find out their flaws. Like it's we don't ever say things like Kaiso is like this because Kaiso is a centurion. No, Kaiso is Kaiso. Let's find out why Kaiso is like a centurion, like a standard centurion. We do it the other way around.
I love Sand Pixie's line in chat. I'm not sure if you're saying that he or she is talking about what the Romans thought when they were out there doing their good in the world. And I love that I'm killing you for your own good. I mean, that's not too far from the truth in some circumstances, even in Expeditions Rome.
It is a point of view. Like, yeah, I mean, he has his flaws. He just thinks he's your basic lawful good character. But he kind of grew up. If you pay attention to his dialogue, you can find out that he has some issues with his family. We don't talk about it a lot. He grew up reading stories about mythical heroes, and he wants to be a mythical hero. He thinks of himself as a hero who, charges at monsters and saves the princess and rides into the sunset at the end of the day. But it did not happen. He genuinely thinks of himself as the hero of the story, probably.
Yeah,
and
he also feels like one thing I like about him, and especially when it comes to kind of a not that these characters are story devices, but he does provide kind of that. You have different perspectives from different characters that help inform you about, like when you're asking them questions about an action that you could take, or going to make a decision about how you approach a particular tactical circumstance. And he is really kind of that voice of Rome in the back of your ear. So you have the different perspectives, and you need that. Yeah. I mean, it's a game about Rome, and it's good to have that personality that says, well, this is maybe what traditional Rome would have done, for good or for bad in certain circumstances. I mean, it provides that perspective a little bit.
Yeah, that's his. Let's say he's virtuous for a Roman. Like he is. Yeah, he's the moral compass of the group. If we're thinking about Roman morals. You can say the same thing about Cineros, but Cineros is more philosophical about the concept of morals, but where Kaiso believes in Rome, and he will follow those tenets, and he will never, he will never be evil. At least try to never be evil. Yeah, he's the good guy, and as an analog, if you have to think of an analog in Expeditions Viking, Aslef is that character. If for those who have played Viking, not because Aslef stands for good, he's the stereotypical standard Viking in everyone's mind.
Gotcha.
Kaiso is the standard idealized Roman. At least he tries to be one, but yeah.
I like Metachow's reaction to that one. Yeah, Rome not evil, but maybe evil. It's a gray line. I mean, history is full of grayness. That's the whole point, right? That's one of the fun things about making Expeditions games. So I think that I was originally wanting to talk about the class of each of the companions, but I think that will make the stream be too long. I encourage you, if you haven't checked it out, we do have an entire stream about combat. We have an entire stream about skills and classes. And it dives into each of them. Kaiso is the sword and board kind of guy. He's very defensive. He can be offensive too. That doesn't mean he doesn't do damage, but he is really kind of that hold the line class. So if you're interested in that, I really encourage you to watch the other streams on those topics, as well as the Dev Diaries. So moving on, let's go into Julia. Julia is our next up. That's the one whose trailer we released on Tuesday. So Tuesday was Julia Day, yesterday. And we have another kind of snacky trailer all about Julia. We're showing off some of her combat moves, a little bit of her personality and some of her lines. Julia is my personal favorite. Not necessarily because I like her story as much. It's a weird thing. I actually like her the most because it was one of the most challenging voiced actor castings we did. And I feel like the talent we got to read Julia just did an extraordinary job of bringing her to life. And I just enjoy listening to the performance. I think there's all of the actors are talented. This is not me trying to, elevate someone above the others, but I really enjoyed her particular performance. I thought she did an incredible job. So let's go ahead and show the Julia companion trailer that released on Tuesday. Nadine, if you don't mind, please take it away for us.
Let's just say, joining the Legion was not the main reason I was disguised. Deceiving people is what I do, Prima. There's a reason I'm good at it. I've had a lot of practice. All the obstacles I faced, I conquered as a man. The only tricky part was not being found out.
And we're back. That is the Julia companion trailer. By the way, I just want to give a good shout out. The production company that's been helping us with all these trailers. I think they've killed it. They've done a great job in all the work. I know Jonas has given a lot of compliments as we've been cranking out, content left and right for this game. I know it seems like a lot of you are enjoying it, but, awesome job for the production team. I think the trailers are awesome. I really enjoy them quite a bit. And I know hopefully, if you guys are in chat, some of that team is watching, give them some shout-outs, because we're making the game, but we can't have a game that, people like unless we have good content out there, and, give them some love, maybe. Jonas, tell us about Julia. What can you tell us about her as a character?
So the thing that makes Julia really interesting from a narrative point of view is she's sort of your entry into the personal story arc of the game, whereas Kaiso more represents sort of like the soldier, the conquest, the warfare part of the story. Julia is sort of your entry point into the espionage and political intrigue side of things, which is a really important through line in the whole game. It's what ties all of the campaigns together. And because she's the spy, she understands the value of information and espionage and subtlety. She plays an extremely important part, especially when you go back to Rome. And I think that makes her a really fun character to engage with in the story, and it made her very fun to write as well, because, it's a bit weird. You don't expect maybe like a story of espionage in a game about being a Roman legatus, but it ended up being one of our favorite parts to write, I think. I'm sure Fasih will agree. All of the intrigue, all of the politics, and she's a very important part in that. Add to that, she's an extremely interesting character in her own right. The woman who fled Rome and joined the Legion disguised as a man, got caught, but then had sufficiently impressed the people who caught her that they found a place for her where she could be doing her thing in safety. And that's also where the difficulty came from that you touched on earlier. Like casting someone who could kind of deliver on that complexity was a very big challenge, but I too am extremely impressed with the actress Rosie who ended up recording her. I think she did a fantastic job.
Absolutely. By the way, Fred Weary, we are going to talk about romances a little bit near the end. I want to get through all the characters first. There was a question on the expedition on the community site on the Dev Diary about romances, so we will have. I'm going to save like a little bit of time near the end, 5 or 6 minutes to talk about romances at the end. So if you're interested in the romance part and the kissy lovey part, we will go into that at the end. Don't worry. And yes, no-nos, we definitely go back to Rome multiple times during the game's story. So the game takes place in 3 major arcs. We have Greece, Africa, and Gaul. And in between each of those arcs, there is a segment that takes place in Rome. So when you complete the Greek arc, you go to Rome for some gameplay. When you complete the Africa arc, you go to Rome for some gameplay. And then when you complete the Gaul arc, there is kind of a finale that takes place in Rome. So there's a lot of times that you spend in Rome kind of going back to the hub, so to speak, and interacting with the politics there that are influencing the tones of these campaigns that you're on. And I think that's, I mean, Julia definitely does play a part in how you interact with some of that from kind of a, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes on in Roman politics, and she's a big part of that. I think Rosie nailed it, and I think it was a big part of the complexity of her character that I don't know if what we've shown so far completely gives off. I think that a lot of people, and even us when we were first looking at her as a voice, right? It was easy to pigeonhole her into the kind of rough and tumble, hard-edged, femme fatale kind of character. And that's only one aspect of her personality, and we really wanted to find, and it comes out in the writing, we wanted to let that multi-dimensional aspects of her come out. She has a sensitive side, she has things that have happened to her that have traumatized her, and you learn about those throughout the story, and I feel like the delivery of that and how she portrays those emotions authentically to herself, one, Rosie nailed it, and two, I think it really does bring the excitement of her character to life.
Yeah,
and we have to say, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to second that. Like, the demo does her dirty in a way. We actually talked about whether to end it a little bit later, because it literally ends right before her big reveal, where you get to see the other side of her character. So it does make her look a bit more one-dimensional than she actually is. If we had just let that demo go like 30 minutes longer, you would have got a very different impression of her, but it had to end where it ended for like story arc reasons.
Yeah. I'll be very excited to see fans' impressions of each of these characters, and maybe we can do a stream where we get some of those, read through some of those impressions live. But how people digest each of these characters, comparing their demo experiences with how those characters evolve, which are very, very different. They definitely change. Fasih, you want to say something real quick before we move on?
I wanted to say something about Rosie Jones, because she did an amazing job, but we should also say that was the most difficult casting we had. It was really difficult. It's probably the most demanding role. So she aced it. It's a very, very, very complex character, and we were really lucky to have someone of her caliber voicing this character.
Yeah, I think that as far as how long it took us to cast, her and Lurko are the ones that took us the longest. I think Julia went through one more round than Lurko did, but I mean, we went through I want to say with Julia, we went through 5-6 casting rounds, and we had a number of multiple reads in order to figure out. We had a lot of really great talent that auditioned for the role, and I mean, a lot of talent that would have done well, but Rosie coming in and showing that, and I hope she watches this, because I mean, she deserves a kudos. The way that it all came together was really cool. And if you haven't watched, there is a DevStream where we talk about the voice actors and the casting process. We do dive a little bit into this. So if voice acting and how we bring those characters to life is interesting to you, we had the director, or one of the directors, the lead director from the Pit Stop, our partner, on the voice side. I would really encourage you to go back and watch that. It's a really awesome stream where we go through and deep dive how we brought the voices and the characters to life. I don't want to go. It's so easy to get talking about different aspects of the game because they're all so exciting, but I don't want to get too distracted here because we have to talk about Bestia, our favorite gladiator. Bestia's up next. I told you, for all those that have been on the streams before, we're going to try to show a little bit of gameplay for every stream. So we have a small cut of gameplay we're going to show here in a second. But first, as custom now on the stream, we're going to show the Bestia Snacky Companion trailer that goes through his personality. Bestia is the stabby guy, dual wielding and deploying damage, and gladiator, but also has a lot of depth to him. So this is the Bestia Companion trailer. Please, Nadine, if you don't mind, taking it away for us.
Bestia is the name I took when I earned my freedom. I chose it because I have fought and defeated many beasts. The punishment for treachery should be death. That is how I grew up, and how I became the greatest gladiator Rome has ever known. All of the lesser ones died. This is all too easy.
All right, I think we are back. Not a bad trailer, right? Beast is a badass. I love it. Man, this is an exciting stream, isn't it? Like, we got a lot of cool stuff we're showing off today. Are you guys having fun? Like, there's a lot of content to drink, just like Jonas is drinking that coffee. It's a lot of fun today. Beastia is a really, really cool character. And again, it's another one of those characters that I don't know if we really showed off all of their complexity in the trailers we've shown. I've already seen from at least watching and talking with some of the people in the different streams during demo weekend that there's a number of people that Beastia is becoming their favorite. A lot of people seem to like him. His humor lines are amazing. Like, he has these one-liners he drops where you're just like, oh my. There's one particular line that was not in the demo, but it was in the extended demo that the streamers got to play, and I think every streamer laughed at it. So I love that aspect of his character. We're going to show some live gameplay here in a minute. Before we do that, I think Fasih, you got the Beastia character. So why don't you give us a really quick summary of Beastia while Nadine is pulling up the gameplay. Oh, she already has it going, so we're good to go. Go ahead, please.
Well, yeah, Beastia is the gladiator. He's kind of like the outsider. Even though he lived in Rome for almost his entire life, he was always a slave, a gladiator. He doesn't know anything about life in Rome. He did something extraordinary. He became a champion, and he probably did something else too. So he was freed. So he's a new Roman citizen, and he doesn't really know how to be a Roman. And he just joined the Legion to be a soldier, to fight. That's the thing he knows. He comes off as a simpleton at first. So I like Beastia's storyline a lot because it really shows what we try to do with all of the companions clearly. Like, they were all designed to be to come off as simple archetypes at first. If you look at Beastia, you think of him as this bloodthirsty, big dumb fighter character, but he's not dumb. When you pay attention, he almost always has a point. He has a different point of view, and there's room for growth, for personal growth, and Beastia is that. Beastia is funny because, he has a very simplistic point of view, but in that simplistic view to life, he's a survivor. Like, he thinks of himself. And on top of that, he's really arrogant. Because he's a champion, he's really arrogant. But later,
right to be.
He has a right to be. Yeah, he's the best fighter he knows of.
Yeah. So we're going to show a little bit of gameplay. This is actually in the Africa campaign, and it kind of it's a little bit spoilery, but not really. We're not really giving away too much, but it's at the intersection point of one of the companion quests, which the companion quests are multi-layered, so they have different moments that take place across different parts of the campaign, depending on which character it is. Cineros is I think the first companion quest that you kind of reach content for in the very early parts of Greece, but they all have different moments that kind of come in at different parts of the campaign. They're not just one quest that you get done and finish and that's it. They kind of keep on springing back up. So this is one of the intersection moments that happens with Beastia when you're in Nosomonis at the Court of Heaven. And really quick, someone was asking about the date Cleopatra thing. I will say maybe. You'll have to find out. There is a lot of interactions that you can have with Cleopatra, and there's a lot of player choice around what happens with Cleopatra. It's very, very multifaceted. So it all depends on how you decide to work with her. Just like, I guess, in a way, Julius had to make some decisions about how he worked with her back in the day, and that had lots of different consequences. So there's a lot involved with her. So I'm going to go ahead and walk up here. Now, Jonas, this is a pretty big, kind of a big moment for. Do we know a little bit about this before this happens? Like, has Beastia talked a little bit about what's about to happen before you run into this moment here?
No, this comes as a surprise. You're going in the wrong direction. You need to go left.
I am. Yeah, you're right.
That's a surprise.
It's a very large level, and it yeah.
It's by the
There's a lot of interesting
happily
details.
with all tribes. All are welcome in my stalls.
This is a bit of a market here.
Buy a sweet wine for one you love.
Yeah, straight ahead. Yeah, exactly. No, it actually comes as a complete surprise. You're here for unrelated business, and you happen to run into someone of huge importance to Bestia, which shocks him, obviously.
Yeah, this is actually. I saw this question come up on a number of the streams with the streamers that were playing, and they were asking if these like random dialogue options are just there for flavor, or are there actual content involved with them. And there is a lot of content that gets sprinkled in. Some of them are just for flavor, and some of them you talk to someone and all of a sudden that leads to side quest content or some other piece. So there is. I mean, obviously you can skip quite a bit if you want to just go and play the main campaign quest, but if you want the full story experience, it is one of those things where it can benefit you to talk to different people and kind of learn about them, and you may be surprised what you stumble into. So I'm going to go ahead and just go through this and stumble in this conversation. We can go through it together.
Romance. Or how do you say it? Selwete. I am Galusa the Great. How may I help you?
So I'm gonna skip some of the other stuff. I'm gonna go right into so we're gonna ask what they have to sell.
Everything you can see in my stalls. The most peculiar spices, and obviously the best sewi Nazamones has to offer. What do you need?
I think we're talking about this character over here as a survey, right? So we're gonna ask. The survey, I guess, has a birthmark, and we notice it, and we're gonna ask about it.
The moment I saw you, I knew what kind of connoisseur you are. Unfortunately, that sewa is not for sale.
That birthmark? By Zeus and Pythagoras. My sister. Finally, I found you, sister.
Restrain your sewas, Roman. I told you, that sewa is not for sale.
So this is something you don't know about, and Bestia just all of a sudden reacts very emotionally to a random person you've walked up to in Nasomanus. So
if you talk to him a lot, he will mention that he had a sister and that he has been searching
that he's looking for her, yeah.
That's about as much as you know. You certainly don't expect to run into her here.
Another customer wants to purchase her and already made a portion of the payment.
The sky is gone from her eyes. What did they do to her? Magister, I don't know what I should do. What do I say?
I think it's something that I really respect about the writing in the Expeditions series as a general rule, but I think this is a good scene that kind of communicates it. The game approaches a lot of very complex topics where morality and right or wrong or different things that are going on or what characters should do or could do is very complicated. And it really does kind of expose what was probably happening all the time in this time frame in the world. So I like that, there's a lot of somberness and kind of immersiveness into what was happening to people back then, and both there's good moments that you experience, and there's also challenging ones like what we're going to experience here. So what do we want to say here? I think we want to move forward. We need to ask, any of them work, right? So we'll do this one. What's wrong with her eyes?
Who are you? What are you doing to me?
I am your brother. I have been looking for you for a long time, sister. But everything will be fine now. We are together again.
I do not know who you are. Please, don't touch me. I do not belong to you.
And we're going to ask about the blinding.
This outrage is unnecessary. Am I telling you how you should run your legion? Then don't tell me how I should deal with my sewa. That's my job and my expertise.
I do not know what kind of trick this is, but I have no brothers. Please let go. Your insistence will be bad for me.
Yeah.
There was the middle one, right? Yeah.
Are you not listening? I have already received a payment from someone. She's not for sale.
What do you want to do, Discipule? Your actions will determine the kind of man you are.
Finding her was once the purpose of my life, Magister. I am not leaving without her. Do something, Legate, or I will.
So here
what's interesting here is also like Cineros and Bestia. The companions are not just forming relationships with you, the main character. They're also developing relationships with each other. There's a lot of depth and interaction between the two of them. So at this point in the story, Cineros and Bestia have had a lot of moments together and had a lot of conversations that you've had a chance to see some of or see the effects of as you kind of go through this adventure, and you're seeing some of that come out here. I think we're gonna. So this is another example where there's a lot of different things that you can do in this experience. You can just decide to go and fight. We don't have time for that because we have 2 more companions to go through, and we're at 15 minutes left. I'm gonna go ahead and do the payment option here.
Tempting. What you're saying is you can pay me 8,000 denarii right now?
A lot.
Never in the history of the world has anyone paid even half that much for a Serwa. He just doesn't want to sell her.
Now, fortunately,
what's nice about this is we have the path. Is it Pathos? I think is this one.
This one is Logos. You can hover over it to see. Hover over the icon, but.
Oh right, Logos. Yeah.
So you get it. You get to negotiate him down basically by calling his lie.
Or you can just pay 8,000. Hopefully you have it if you want to go that route.
I see. You drive a hard bargain. Deal. Selling blind Serwi is always difficult. Take her.
Thank you, my friend. You can't even guess how much that means to me. I shall find a way to repay you.
Sorry. I love the first response. Yeah, Beast, yeah, but you're giving me the money back, right? Like, you're coming to war with me, but no. You're gonna... Some of these things I haven't read all the way through, so sometimes even I get surprised. I hear this very somber moment, it's like, yeah, but you're still gonna pay me. I didn't do this for free. Forget it.
You just paid a fortune. Like, you paid a fortune for it. If you're that kind of character, it's reasonable to demand it back.
Nah, Beastia, I got you. It's all good.
For I am a good man. Come on, sister. I will show you your new home.
Awesome. So I just wanted to show that scene and show you a little bit of the examples of how some of these characters develop. Farflame CZ asked about how Cineros and Bestia. I wouldn't say their characters are really paired up. There's a lot of, and we're done with this the gameplay part, so we can go back to just us again. I wouldn't say that they're paired up. I think that there's different moments where different characters interact with each other. There are some that end up forming different types of bonds, I guess is a way to put it, but it's not necessarily like we paired these two and then these two and these two. They all have different, I mean, you're a group traveling for, I think it was like 5-8 years together, and you have a lot of different challenges that you face together, so as is natural, right, different bonds and different moments form, and we try to bring those to life organically as you're going throughout the game experience, which I think is really cool. We do need to move on because we have 2 more characters to blaze through, and I do want to get some questions. Nadine, don't hate me. We may go a little bit long, because I definitely want to get the Q&A section in. So let's do Cineros next. Cineros was listed as maybe a potential favorite. So old man Cineros, but badass man Cineros too. He has his own little snack trailer. This is the sneak preview part of the stream. Now you get to see things before everyone else does, because you know what? We got to bring the sweetness, right? We got to have some fun stuff for you to snack on. So this is a trailer that's going to go live tomorrow. This is the Cineros companion trailer. I hope you enjoy it. Go ahead, Nadine, if you don't mind playing that for everybody, and then we'll jump right in there.
Yes, you'll be all right. I was indeed known as the man-crusher of Halicarnassus. But my past life is a distant memory now. Although it was nice to be back in my homeland once again, I find it quite impossible to not miss Rome.
I need some attention.
I have paid for my crimes.
All right, Cineros, the man crusher, right, of Halicarnassus. How do you pronounce it?
Halicarnassus.
Almost got it. I heard that so many times. I should have it memorized by now. Really quick, Anu B was talking about the accent. So I'll say one thing about we are artists. We have to make artistic choices. We decided to go with a more British accent for the Romans because there's a lot of heritage to the way that has been portrayed in media, and we felt like it was a way to really bring the richness of the story to life. However, we spent a tremendous amount of effort on Latin pronunciations of words. We actually had a professor that supported us on the project and did both a long document as well as a lot of audio file guides to help guide and inform the actors on how to pronounce these words, and they had to study them. And then we had different people on the team, as well as the directors, that spent a lot of time with the actors, making sure that we got all those pronunciations as close to the way that a Roman would say them in their Latin accents. So artistically, we decided to make a choice. We used different regional dialect tones for the Greeks, for the African tribes, etc., that were authentic to them, and for the Romans, we decided to go with the British. It was an artistic choice. You know, I'm happy with it. But as far as the way that the words are pronounced, there was a tremendous, non-trivial, like this document was like 50, 60 pages long. Like there was a lot of effort put into trying to get them to speak with a accented language in Latin that was as authentic to that time period as possible. It was a lot of effort. So we do talk about that in the VO DevStream, and I encourage you, if you really like that stuff, to go watch it. There's a lot of good topics that we talk about with the director there. So Cineros, Jonas, you want to give us the 5-minute on Old Man Cineros?
Sure. So the good thing about Cineros, the thing that makes him one of the more compelling characters, is that he is already tied to you intimately right from the start. He's your old mentor. He's your personal servant who has taught you from when you were a child. He belongs to you. He belongs to your family. But his relationship to you is more like a salaried employee, and like a really well treasured one who's been a family friend as much as he's been an employee of your family, albeit an employee who cannot quit because he's in danger.
Right.
Another fun thing about him is because he has this very harmless kind of somber philosopher appearance, and he seems like someone who would want to stay out of combat and just teach and be wise and give you advice. And he turns out to be a massive badass in a fight. You're like, how is this? And even the characters will remark on this. Like, it's actually a fun little dynamic thing in the AI one-liners. The first time Kaiso is together with Cineros and Cineros hits someone with his staff, Kaiso's like, "What? You're deadly with that thing!" And everyone hears that line, right? But even the people in the game are surprised by this. And of course, there is a reason why Cineros is deadly with that thing. It's because he had a very different past than you might expect, and that's one of the personal story arcs that reveals itself earliest in the game. So you sort of feel like you get to know Cineros really well, and you unveil his secrets fairly early on.
Yeah, I really like the reactions of the other companions about how his story is unveiled to you in different moments. Yulia is hilarious. She kind of like makes a lot of jabs at him when some of that stuff's coming up, and you can just get that dynamic of them. They still are pretty early in knowing each other at that point, so her kind of giving them some flack is really entertaining. I love it, but that's just part of the characters and how they react to each other. I find that I find it funny. So we're going to talk about the romances near the end, but I saw a number of people who are like, "Well, can you romance Cineros?" And I'm like, "Man, that's just wrong." Like, no,
nope.
He had his time.
It's like your godfather, right? Like, this is someone that raised you as a kid. It's a very like parental type figure to you. It's very it's like a deep, close familial relationship and friendship. It would be very, very, grotesquely wrong. So, no.
One interesting thing about Cineros is, for the history nerds who are watching the stream right now,
nothing wrong with a person with experience. Yeah, well, sure, but this is like a certain level of no. Like, if there's just, we're all for exploring uncomfortable and different topics, but this one was just gross. Like, no. You don't have a relationship with your. I mean, there are people maybe out there that have relationships with people like that in their lives. Man, that's just not. We're not going there. It's just wrong. So, no romance for Cineros. He's off the table.
No romance for Cineros. He had his adventures. Let's put it that way.
I'm not going to repeat that one. Good lord. Sorry. Go ahead, Fasih.
No worries. Part of his story is actually taken from real historical events, although it's minor real historical events in Halicarnassus. So if someone is really a history nerd and looks into the history of Halicarnassus, we kind of moved those events a few hundred years into the future. They happened a few hundred years before Cinyarus's time, and their consequences. And for the sake of not spoiling anything, I will not say more. But I when I found out about that event years ago, I was laughing. Like that's so funny. It's a real thing that it didn't happen to Cinyarus, but it happened to someone from that region, and I really laughed a lot. So I thought, I have to put this into the game. So it's technically anachronistic, but I had to. Sorry.
It's something that's very cool, I think, about the entire stories of Expeditions Rome. There are quite a bit of historical things that are in there as is, and there's a lot of historical moments that are just reshaped or not want to say repurposed, but used as source material that can bring the world to life in a realistic way, because they are variations of what actually happened. And I love that, because I think when you get into these characters and these moments, it adds a level of organicness that are just super, super compelling. It's not most, I would say, not a large portion, but there's quite a lot of real history that's just been, bent to the purposes of our narrative, but still rooted in how people did things. I mean, what actually happened and how drama took place, and I don't know. It adds a level of, I love it. It's really cool. We're short on time, so let's jump into Dianara, because I know that Jonas wants a chance to talk about our favorite Amazonian. So we have another last of the trailers. This one's going to go live on Friday. She's the end of our Companion Week adventures, so you'll be able to see this on replay on Friday on YouTube when it goes live. But we're doing preview day, so you're going to get to see it early, 2 days early. Don't say I never gave you anything. So here is the Dianara companion trailer. Nadine, please take it away.
I was taken as serva, sold to Greek man. I am too unruly to be Greek wife, but I make good gladiator. Why not have women hunt and fight? There is so much to like about freedom outside cities, but I grew up in camps. We moved and moved. For once I just want to sit still.
And we are back from the trailer. Jonas, I'm going to just let you start off. I'm not going to say much. Tell us about our great Amazonian.
Yeah, I mean, Dianara's a badass. She was the last one to get added to the game, and was actually just added because you can bring 5 people into a quest, and it felt weird that you only had 4 companions. Because she was added that late, we had the benefit that the story wasn't really written around her being there, so she's the only one who's optional. You can choose to say no when she asks to join your party. She's introduced a bit later, which is also why she's not in the demo. So she brings an interesting perspective. She's basically like the heart of the group if you invite her in. There's several scenes in the game where you get to do a timeout and kind of go around and check in on all of your companions and ask how they felt about what just happened and what's going on, what are their plans. Every time that happens, Dianara is the one who asks you how you feel. What's going on with you? What are your plans? So she takes like an active interest. She's very empathetic that way, and I think that's what makes her particularly interesting, because she is a massive badass who kicks lots of ass and is like a trained gladiator and experienced huntress and all this stuff. And she has some very serious trauma in her past as well that she's still dealing with, and that you will get to unravel throughout the game as well. So I think her story arc is probably my favorite, but I would say that, having written most of it. But it has some really interesting story beats.
Yeah, I find that the other thing that's really cool about her, I guess, backstory in a sense is it's also rooted in some historical truths, and that there were these. I mean, that's where the Amazon warrior kind of trope comes from. Is this tribe that where men and women also both fought, and the Romans had a certain level of respect and almost fear. That there were these crazy warrior women, and it turned into what we now have, 1,000 whatever plus years later, 1,000 years later, when it's like the legacy of that is very strong. So there was a lot of dynamics in history that we're tapping into with her backstory and why she is the badass that she is.
the Scythian society and culture is super different from Rome and from Greece, which inspired Rome to a great degree. And to them, the idea of a woman going into war is super weird. And if you play a woman, or even if you just like interact a lot with Julia, obviously you get to see that part of it, like how incredulous a lot of people react to the fact that you are there fighting for some reason when you should be at home in a dress, making political intrigues or whatever, according to them. But Deianira brings that outside perspective, like she doesn't understand why this is a problem at all. To her, it's just completely pragmatic that, of course, everyone should fight. That's how you win. You can't count out half of your population. And it's just natural to her. And she brings a much needed, very different outside perspective on that whole thing.
Yeah. It is a little bit, I find a little bit sad that she came in a little bit late because we didn't get her included, for example, in the key art that's behind Jonas in every stream. Mainly because the development of that was well underway before Deianira was really even birthed into the story. And she is a really compelling character. We do have the 5 companions, and there's a lot of depth to her that I think we unfortunately missed out on in the early marketing materials. But it's also kind of cool because then you have a surprise, and I like there.
I think it's cool that we have this sort of latecomer to the party who's introduced a little bit later, but ends up being really important.
Yeah. So we do need. We're at the end of our stream time, but I do want to answer some questions. Nadine, is it okay if we go a little bit here to answer? She's nodding at me, so everyone thank Nadine for giving us a few little extra minutes to answer some questions. First off, I mentioned before, I want to cover all the questions from the community site. Community.expeditionseries.com is where those questions can be posted. So you can jump in there, read our dev diaries. Consume all that content. We are looking at them. I check the site the day before the stream, the night before the stream, and grab all the questions on there and have them in front of me so I can go through them. So this is where the romances are come up. Don't worry, Sand Pixie. We're going to talk about them for a minute. So the first question comes from Regglyph, and I think we covered this, but I'm going to ask it and then we'll answer it really quick. So would it be possible to clarify? He or she asks, would it be possible to clarify how companions may die? And perhaps how that is different from story companions versus the non-story characters. We did talk about this in the beginning, but just to redo it, can you mind maybe Fasih re-articulating that answer?
Maybe I should take it, actually.
Yeah, Jonas, you can.
So because it's kind of more of a gameplay thing, there is a combat death option when you begin the game, which changes the mechanics surrounding that. I would suggest you play with combat options on, because it actually is the most compelling way to play the game. If combat death is on, then when a character goes down in a fight, there is a bleed out timer on them, and if you let that bleed out timer go to 0, then the character is killed permanently. If they are a non-companion, then they will just be gone from the party and you'll have to replace them. If they are a companion, it triggers a game over, because the story can't continue. Without combat death on, characters will just be incapacitated forever until the combat is over, and then they'll get back on their feet, but they will get an injury when they go down, regardless of whether combat death is on or off. That injury has to be treated in triage after combat, and injuries can deteriorate if you don't treat them. If you let them deteriorate all the way past critical, the character is killed. And again, if that's a companion, it will be a game over. And that has to happen even if you don't have combat death on. They can still die from deteriorating wounds, so be careful.
Yep. And Anoop B, to answer your question, yes, it does apply to Deianira if you welcome her into the party. So each of the companions get a special icon above all the UI. There's like a little, almost like a crown type element to their little icon. And if you have a companion class character, they follow that rule set. It also is part of the, if you're going into a more risky encounter, you may want to, if you have you may decide not to bring all your companions. Maybe you want to bring some more disposable characters in that you may be able to sacrifice. But that's also tricky because there's, a risk to that, and the equity you've built up with them, and their skills and whatnot would be lost. So if anyone's familiar with XCOM and some of the other turn-based strategy games out there, there are some elements that are shared amongst these different products that we're tapping into. So it's probably very familiar for you, and how you have to stabilize people that are downed, and the risk and how you have to kind of maneuver around that. But it's, the game over state's real for the companion, so you have to be aware of that.
And there's one more thing. They might be able to die in the story, so mind your choices.
Yeah. So companions are not immortal. When it comes to the story, the choices may You know.
Yeah. We've said too much.
We should.
We're not saying anything. It's Mass Effect, right? We haven't said. No one knows what's going to happen.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
There's no.
Okay.
Come on now. Okay.
But we should clarify the terminology because there's talk of story companions and non-story companions. There's no such thing in our minds, at least. When we say companion, we mean story characters.
Don't stop them. No, yeah. You'll have to play and find out. You only have a week to wait. All right. So acceptable casualties, right? So let's go to the next question because this is the one that has some meat to it. All of them have meat to it. Sorry, not judging questions, but this is the one that everyone keeps on asking about. I'm going to take one aspect. Kirschlag von Schmazu, which I hope I'm not saying something inappropriate in another language. We'll hope that's true. They asked a number of questions, but I'm going to just grab the one because everyone keeps on asking about it. I would like to know if romance is in the game. Jonas, romance is it in the game? Do we got romance?
I can confirm that romance is in the game, and all the companions except Cineros, stop it, are romantic.
All the companions, except for Cineros, stop it. I love that. We got to add that in like bold on the forums. All the companions except for Cineros are available as romance options. Now, I want to set expectations. The romance is part of the game. It's not a big staple feature. So it's there. There are opportunities with it. It does influence endings. It does have plays in the story and how it rolls out. But we haven't created a whole bunch of custom cutscenes. The budget was not there for that. And there's a lot of different romance options even beyond your companions. So there's different relationships you can form. There are different romance options based on if you play a male or a female character. There's some, and most of that's tied to story. The companions, I think, all the companions are available, I think, for both male and female. So
no. So the bisexual ones are Kaiso and Dianera. Everyone else is.
Thank you. Okay, so Kaiso and Dianera are the bisexual options. And then you have other characters in the story that have options too. So there's a lot of cool dialogue, though, and moments, and there's world events, and there's definitely a lot of content there to experience. I'm not going to say all that Jonas said in a chat recently, but he's doing one of his full organic playthroughs, and he may or may not have been a little bit of a player, it seems.
I was slightly promiscuous, and you should not slut shame me, please.
I'm not shaming. I'm not condoning it nor shaming. I'm just articulating what I read, which is that Jonas had some party time in Africa. I think a little bit. Like he was exploring his options a little bit. You know, sometimes you got to know what you want. So I thought that was really entertaining. So I think you guys will enjoy the romance options. And as Jonas with his no such thing in ancient Rome, right, Sand Pixie? You can play the role that you want. So when it comes to going and experiencing new things with different people, or deciding that you're really, going for one person, there's a lot of opportunities there for you to play the story that you want to play. So hopefully you enjoy that. Hopefully that also answers the romance question adequately. I'm going to grab one more question before we close out from the forums. I may grab one or two quick ones from the stream, but Sorka, another one from the community site, asked for a question for tomorrow's stream. Are there going to be any banters between companions while running around with your party in locations, kind of like Dragon Age or Mass Effect style? I know the answer to this, but Fasih, why don't you go ahead and answer that?
There is a lot of banter in different situations, and if you pay attention, it will also reveal some important plot points. Let's leave it at that. Yeah, they talk a lot. The answer is yes.
I do want to clarify, it's not like a whole system like it is in Dragon Age.
No.
It comes in at plot points, and in the camp you'll find them sometimes hanging out together and discussing things, but no, it's not going to be like a random thing when you run.
I think the way we talked about it a lot, and this may be because I'm also a big Mass Effect fan, but the way that I correlate it is I think there's quite a bit of corollaries to how Mass Effect structure is. Not as detailed. Obviously, Mass Effect is a massive AAA budget game, and though this game is a bigger game than Vikings, we're not anywhere near Mass Effect scope and scale. Wish we could, but we're not there yet. But we definitely have that kind of idea of going back to your camp, kind of like you go back to the Normandy, and you can talk to the different characters. and there's elements there that you can bring out. And then as you're walking around and doing things, characters may chime in about various aspects of the world, or characters you interact with, or things that happen. You get a lot of that dynamic commentary coming out. So, and I think there's a lot of corollaries between those two, at least the style and structure for how we're doing. So they come to life.
Yeah.
Let me grab one or two real quick questions from chat, and then we will call it. Let's see here. Yeah, so Vegan Milkshake asks, is it pretty similar to the personality traits of previous games, i.e. greedy party members when you choose the most profitable options? So, I mean, there are a number of those different modifiers for the different characters, and they play into how they react to different decisions you make, if I understand that correctly. Right, Jonas?
Yeah, it works exactly the same as it did in Viking. Every character has a number of personality traits, and depending on your choices, their approval goes up and down. And that affects their morale in combat.
Yeah. Morph Dude asked a question, which is, do the companions have any unique skills in combat?
They have a unique unarmed skill each, but that's it. Their class skills are the same.
Yeah. And then let me grab, so Pop Soda Gaming asks, is there a morale system? Yes, there's definitely a morale system. It works very similar to how it did in Vikings. Your decisions based on the characteristics of the different, and that's not just limited to the companions. Your higher level Praetorians have the same kind of thing. So there's a lot there as well in how they react to your decisions. And it may choose what kind of Praetorians you want to hire, because you need them for things from the Legion battles to the different missions where you can only the pacification missions where you can only bring the higher Praetorians in one companion. So there's some depth there, and you should be careful who you hire because they may not like your choices. And one thing I think that also isn't, I'm trying to remember from past, I think this is also in Vikings, if you make a non-companion character angry enough, they'll just leave you. They won't stay in your group.
That's correct.
But to clarify, there is no morale system like in Mass Effect, for instance. There is no global renegade versus paragon or light side versus dark side system. We don't judge that. You know, it's just there are just choices and consequences.
Yeah, I think we talked about that in the story stream, which is actually quite a long time ago. That may have been like DevStream 3 or 4, where we purposely avoided that type of feature because we wanted the player to feel that they can play the role they want as they're playing through the game. We didn't want to judge it. So it is however you decide to do, and different people react to those things, and the world reacts to those decisions as you go. Well, everyone, we've gone 10 minutes over. I'm going to call it here. It's been a great stream. We've shown so much. This has been a big one. And everything went smooth. Look at that. We had more video and gameplay and 3 guests, and man, it was seamless. So great job to the production team behind the scenes. Fasih, the famous Fasih, I noticed that your fan club wasn't here today. I didn't see any Fasih fan club postings, so you'll have to get on.
I have no idea what's up with them. Like maybe because I'm here, they're not here. I don't know.
I know. I saw a Fasih fan club post on one of the YouTube videos last week. So someone's like saying, "Oh, Fasih, blah blah blah." I saw that. So I mean, they're still out there.
They're still around.
Thank you so much for joining the stream today, Fasih. Are you excited about next week?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, who wouldn't be? Like, yeah, I'm really anxious. It's after all this time, I don't even know what to say.
No, we're almost there, man. It's real exciting. Jonas, thank you again for joining.
3 years of my life leading up to this moment. I can't wait. I can't wait to release this game.
So next week we are going to be back at this exact same time on Wednesday. We're going to be even more stressed and anxious next week because we're going to be one day before release at that point, before it goes public. And man, it has been quite the journey with these dev streams. For those that have joined us for the whole journey from DevStream 1 to 15, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It means a lot. For those that are just joining, we are so happy that you're here. We hope that you enjoy Expeditions Rome when it releases. It's been an adventure of our own to get here to this point, and the fact that we're 1 week away is just goosebumps. So thank you for all your support. We really appreciate it. We hope you tune in next week for Wednesday or tune in for Thursday for our release party dev stream, and we will see you all then. Thank you very much. Have a safe and wonderful week, and we'll see you Wednesday. Cheers.